Chicago Fire has been a mainstay of the small screen for some time, premiering all the way back in October 2012. As of October 2025, the show is still going strong, having entered its 14th season with 276 episodes to its name. But not every member of the original ensemble has made it through the show's entire run. What's more, the show has seen multiple new faces join the cast only to disappear soon after. Michael Bradway, who played firefighter Jack Damon, is one example. The actor joined Chicago Fire in Season 12 only to depart ahead of Season 14 due to having been cast in a new Prime Video series that meant his schedule no longer aligned with the NBC show. The popular television series Chicago Fire gave rise to Chicago PD, Chicago Med, and Chicago Justice. However, it all began in 2012 with the squad members of Firehouse 51 of the Chicago Fire Department. But Bradway was nowhere to be seen at that moment. The franchise had already grown to encompass the 3 other programs when he joined Chicago Fire in Season 12. His debut coincided with several significant cast changes on Chicago Fire, including the departure of Rome Flynn, Alberto Rosend, and Kara Kilmer from the firefighting series. Bradway actually replaced Flynn, whose firefighter Derek Gibson departed the series in Episode 8 of Season 12, All the Dark. Bradway's Damon then debuted in Episode 10, The Wrong Guy, taking Gibson's place on Truck 81. The character remained with the series for 17 episodes between Seasons 12 and 13, but before the Season 14 premiere, it was announced that he wouldn't be returning as he'd been cast in Prime Video's upcoming adaptation of Carly Fortune's novel, Every Summer After. Michael Bradway left Chicago Fire to film his romantic Prime Video series. Michael Bradway seemed to have found a good home in the One Chicago universe. At the end of Season 12, it's revealed that Jack Damon is the younger half-brother of Taylor Kinney's Kelly Severide, a main character who's been with the series since the beginning. As such, it looked as though Bradway had a long future on the show. Alas, ahead of Season 14's debut, showrunner Andrea Newman told TV Line there would be a lot of turnover for the series. Soon after, it was announced that Bradway had been cast in another show, which made his appearance in Chicago Fire impossible. When the first episode of the new season arrived, we learned that Damon had been transferred to a different firehouse with no further details. As reported by soaps, Bradway was cast as one of the main characters in Prime Video's adaptation of Every Summer After, which previously became a book talk sensation and is sure to prove similarly popular in streaming form. The actor will play Charlie, the older brother of Sam, with whom the protagonist, Percy, has a romantic attachment. Considering the widespread success of the streamers The Summer I Turned Pretty, which just ended with its 3rd season, it would make sense for Bradway to want to prioritize that project over anything else. Production on the adaptation had already begun over the summer of 2025, so filming Chicago Fire was essentially off the table, though the producers are said to have left the door open for Bradway's return. The actor hasn't addressed his departure from the show, but will no doubt be asked about returning during the press tour for Every Summer After, which is yet to receive a release date but will likely materialize in 2026. When Chicago Fire introduced Jack Damon, fans immediately knew something special was brewing at Firehouse 51. Portrayed by the charismatic newcomer Michael Bradway, Jack's storyline carried that rare mix of quiet intensity and emotional depth that made viewers sit up and take notice. He wasn't just another new recruit or a background firefighter filling in shifts. Jack Damon was a character designed to shake things up. His energy, his past, and his evolving relationships within the house all hinted at a long-term role. But just as audiences were beginning to invest in his arc, Chicago Fire dropped the bombshell. Jack Damon was leaving the show. It was a move that left many scratching their heads and asking one question. Why did Michael Bradway's Jack Damon leave Chicago Fire? To understand Jack Damon's exit, you have to look at both sides of the story. The character's journey within the world of Chicago Fire and the real-life dynamics that led to Bradway's departure. The series, now in its 14th season, has built a reputation for bold storytelling and equally bold casting decisions. Actors come and go, not because the show loses faith in them, but because Chicago Fire thrives on evolution. Every new season introduces new conflicts, new relationships, and often, New firefighters who pushed the emotional balance of the firehouse in unexpected directions. In Jack's case, he arrived just as Firehouse 51 was reeling from several major losses. Ritter's departure, Mouch's uncertain health, and Severide and Kid's ongoing struggles to balance marriage with duty. Damon's character injected a sense of hope and fresh perspective into a weary team that had seen too much loss. But ironically, that very role as the new blood may have also set the stage for his exit. Jack Damon was first introduced as a transfer firefighter with a mysterious past. Right away, there were hints of emotional baggage, the kind that Chicago fire writers love to unpack slowly. He was competent on the field, but there was always something guarded about him, as if he was holding back from his team. Viewers speculated that he had seen tragedy in his previous house or that his reasons for joining 51 were not entirely professional. Over time, Jack bonded with Herman, Kid, and Cruz, showing a vulnerable side that endeared him to the audience. His chemistry with the team, especially with Violet Mikami, had fans rooting for a potential romance. The writers subtly teased that connection through stolen glances and moments of shared grief after a rough call. But just as that relationship began to gain traction, the storyline took an abrupt turn. Jack announced he was leaving. On screen, the explanation was heartfelt but simple. Jack revealed that he needed time away from the CFD after losing a close friend in the line of duty years earlier. A trauma he thought he had buried but realized he had never fully processed. His departure was framed as a choice for mental health and self-preservation, a decision that resonated deeply with fans and mirrored the show's ongoing effort to tackle the emotional toll of first responder life. The goodbye scene between Jack and the rest of Firehouse 51 was understated but powerful. There were no explosions, no last-minute rescues, just honest emotion. Kid's voice cracked as she told him he'd always have a home at 51. Cruz clapped him on the shoulder, the silent camaraderie between men who'd faced flames together saying everything words couldn't. And Violet, holding back tears, whispered a quiet, "Take care of yourself, Jack." It was one of those Chicago fire moments that reminded fans why the show remains a cornerstone of emotional storytelling. Behind-the-scenes reasons for Michael Bradway's exit tell a slightly different story. According to multiple reports and cast interviews, Bradway's departure was not a case of creative disagreement or a falling out with production. Instead, it was part of a carefully considered creative decision made early in the season. Showrunner Andrea Newman, known for her thoughtful approach to character arcs, reportedly envisioned Jack Damon's story as a limited one from the beginning. His purpose was to highlight the often overlooked psychological weight firefighters carry and to offer a counterpoint to the long-standing veterans of 51 who've learned to compartmentalize their trauma over time. In that sense, Damon was never meant to replace anyone. He was meant to remind both the audience and his fellow firefighters that strength sometimes means stepping away. Michael Bradway himself embraced the role with full understanding of its short-term nature. In interviews following his final episode, Bradway expressed gratitude for the opportunity to be part of such an iconic ensemble. "The Chicago Fire team welcomed me like family," he said in one post-show statement. "Even though my time was brief, Jack's story was one I felt deeply connected to. Playing him allowed me to explore what it means to struggle quietly, to carry loss, and to still show up for your team. That's something every firefighter, and really every person, can relate to." Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my sister wives to our channel, and stay with TS.